The governor did, however, sign a multitude of bills in Fairbanks today. This morning, the governor, legislators, and members of the Alaska Trappers Association gathered at the Mushers Hall on Farmers Loop as 3 bills were signed into law. They include House Bills 272, 125, and 395. These bills address issues such as hunting access for disabled persons, trapping cabins, and a property transfer for the Alaska Railroad. HB 272 allows for the establishment of appropriate hunting areas for big game that will allow disabled persons to access the land whilst accompanied by a licensed and able-bodied hunter to retrieve the game if taken. HB 125 reduces the fees for trapping cabin permits on state land, easing the ability for trappers to continue their practices.
It also outlines conditions where a permit can be renewed for a 10-year period, greatly reducing the bureaucratic red tape trappers have to cut through just to be able to trap on Alaska state lands.
The last bill, signed this morning, HB 395, is perhaps the most important bill for interior residents. This bill approves the Alaska Railroad Corporation transfer of lands that they own to the city of Nenana. This will allow Nenana to increase economic development by selling the land to investors. Representative Tom McKay of Anchorage spoke to the central location and accessibility of Nenana and how developments in the city will allow for increased exports from the small town, which will help the population grow. That's also something that Nenana needs, according to the city mayor.
It is a huge relief to finally have that done, because some of these investors were not likely to keep waiting around if it failed a 4th time. I don't have any desire for it to become some metropolis. I like having a small town, but I know that it needs to grow in order for us to be the type of town that our community wants to be.
HB 395 had failed in the legislature 3 times before being signed into law today. This bill also brings the city of Nenana one step closer to eliminating their debt. And Governor Dunleavy signed another bill into law just this afternoon in the Butrovich building at the University of Alaska Fairbanks. Coined the Textbook Cost Transparency Act, the legislation requires the University of Alaska's online course schedule to identify all required course materials. The new law also mandates that university course descriptions indicate which materials are free or low cost. Materials are considered low cost if the pre-sales tax price does not exceed 4 times the state's hourly minimum wage. That's currently equivalent to about $47. Under the Textbook Cost Transparency Act, the university must also create a search function that can help prospective students to identify which courses have exclusively free or low-cost required materials. This will be especially beneficial for students deciding which courses to take as they juggle finances, and in some cases, a separate full-time job to pay for school.
I know for me, because I'm a first-generation student, also come from a low-income household. A month after my first week into the semester, I had to maintain a full-time job. So I've worked throughout my entire education, and let me tell you, sometimes when life happens, when a car breaks down, or when you just plain don't have the money, knowing the cost of a textbook just makes the difference of whether or not you can take the course.